Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel about crypto. This video is just a quick market commentary to discuss what happened over the last week or so and where the prices are heading at the moment. So, let's have a look at what happened in the last few days. As we can see on CoinGecko, the prices are generally all green, almost all green. We had quite a big move up over the last few days. If we go to Bitcoin price, these are daily candles we can see here. So as we can see over the last few days, basically since the 4th of August, we had pretty consistent move up. We went from around $39,000 range to around $46,000 at the moment, which is roughly 15% or so, depending which prices we take into account. More importantly, we are now actually above 20-week SMA. That means that the price of Bitcoin is now above an average price over the last 20 weeks. And that price level, 20-week SMA, is very important because historically this is the level we have to cross in order to be able to put new all-time high. As we can see here on the chart, it's this purple line, and actually we've managed to close yesterday, so we managed to close last week literally on the verge of it. In fact, if you look online, you will find a lot of people are saying that we closed just below, others are saying we closed just above, and they are all actually right because it depends on which exchange you're looking at. Different exchanges have different prices, and therefore on some of the exchanges Bitcoin closed just below that 20-week moving average, and on others it closed just above. However, just simply reaching that level is nothing to get excited about. What we need to see is Bitcoin staying firmly above that level, and ideally either going up consistently, or more likely it will dip again and hopefully bounce off that 20-week moving average and then continue up. There is still a risk that we may actually go down to that level and break below. If that happens, then most likely we'll see another few weeks or potentially 2 or 3 months of sideways movement, which may see the price dipping again to mid or even low 30s. At this point, it's still really difficult to predict what will happen. Even today, the price earlier in the day was around 44,000 mark, and 20-week moving average is at the moment around 44,000, depending on which exchange you're looking at. So we're still literally on the verge, on that line. But later in the day, it moved more towards 46,000. It was even around, I think, 46.4 roughly. So it is certainly moving in the right direction, and there are reasons to be optimistic. However, like I said earlier, there's still a pretty good chance that the price may still dip. If we look at Ether, Ether has been performing really well basically since 21st of July. So that's now over 2.5 weeks of really solid performance. Such strong move up is always a little bit concerning because sooner or later we have to see a dip. At the moment it looks like that move up is slowing down a little bit over the last couple of days, but that being said, in the last 2.5 weeks we've seen about 70% move up, which is an amazing performance. A lot of it has to do with deployment of London hard fork last week. So Ether can now be, under right conditions, a deflationary asset. The outlook on Ether is really positive at the moment, but like I said, such a strong move up is likely to cause a little bit of a cool down soon. Doesn't mean that we'll dip again to $2,000 mark, probably nowhere near that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a dip soon. It will largely, of course, depend on what Bitcoin will do. If Bitcoin goes down, then Ether most likely will follow. If Bitcoin continues up, then Ether will carry on going up as well. And then my third favorite project, Cardano, and its token ADA. ADA does what it usually does. It goes really steady. We can see again from 21st of July this pretty steady move up, nowhere near as spectacular as it was the case with Ether, but it's still nonetheless a solid, consistent move up. With ADA, it tends to go sideways for quite long periods of time, so I'm not expecting any crazy movements up. We have to remember that Cardano blockchain is still being built and tested. It's a very slow development process. So with ADA, I'm expecting it to go up in price significantly. So I expect it to outperform Ether and certainly Bitcoin in terms of percentages. But I also expect it to be much slower than the other two coins. So yeah, I'm certainly not expecting any sudden move up. So overall, I think there are reasons to be really optimistic. Things are certainly heading in the right direction. When I made a similar video last week, Bitcoin was in a slightly more difficult situation. It was a bit more difficult to predict which way it will go. Right now, I have a bit more confidence that we are heading up, but what we need to see is staying above that $44,000 level for a few days and see which way we go. Like I said, if we dip to it and bounce back up, that's great. We certainly don't want to go below it, but I don't expect us to put a new all-time high anytime soon. It's still a long way to go to the previous all-time high of around 65,000. So yeah, I think we may see a move up to around 50k, then potentially another dip, and then gradually we may be moving up towards the previous all-time high, and then eventually putting a new all-time high. In the meantime, I'm still adding more Bitcoin, Ether and ADA to my portfolio. I think the price levels are still really good. If you believe that Bitcoin will hit six figures at some point in this market cycle, and I certainly do, and Ether can hit around $8,000 to $10,000 and Cardano above $5, well, we are still looking at easily doubling or tripling the current prices. So these are still good purchase levels. I think that's it for now. Like I said, it all looks good. We'll see where we will be in a few days' time, and then I'll make another video and comment on the situation at that point in time. Thank you.